Hallo zusammen zu einer weiteren Folge von New Horizons, dem Hochschulpodcast. Und heute freue ich mich, eine ganz besondere Gästin zu begrüßen, nämlich jemanden, der aus Mexiko kommt und der in den USA studiert. Aber der Gast stellt sich am besten selber vor und es ist ein englischsprachiger Gast, also leite ich jetzt über zu Mariana. And I think Mariana can introduce herself.
Thank you so much, Martin. Hi, my name is Mariana. I am originally from Mexico. I was born and raised in a town called Toluca that is really close to Mexico City. And now I'm studying my master's in UC Davis in the Food and Science department.
UC Davis is in which state in the US?
It's in, it will be California, Yolo County more specifically, and the city is Davis. Yes.
And since when are you studying there?
I started studying in 2022. I started my master's in 2022.
And you did your bachelor's already in Mexico?
Yes, I did my bachelor's in Tecnológico de Monterrey. It's a university that has several campuses all around Mexico. And I studied at the north of Mexico that is called Monterrey. That is the main campus. And my background is in chemistry. Specifically, the program focuses more in nanotechnology. But overall, it's just like chemistry. And then we start studying the matter at a very, very, very small scale.
So, you're originally from Mexico. Now you study in the States. And as of right now, as we see, you are in Trier, Germany. How does that work? Why are you here exactly?
I know, it's crazy. But the first time that I came to Germany was last year. Everything started because I got accepted in an internship in Austria at the International Institute for Applied System Analysis in Luxembourg, really close to Vienna. So I spent there 2 weeks, and then I have a really good friend that she lives in Freiburg.
Oh, and, beautiful city.
Yeah, I loved it. I will say that. So after that, I went back to the US and I started looking for more opportunities. Also because the project that I'm working at, it's covers how AI is everywhere nowadays. So in our project, what we want, one part of the project is to understand how we can use a model to extract data from papers and create a database. And I saw that there was a very similar project in Leipzig. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but Leipzig.
Almost.
Oh, okay.
Leipzig.
And so I started getting interested, and then a professor of my university, he shared through email the summer semester here in Trier. And I looked at it, and I was very interested in learning more about food economics because my program is more focused in food science, everything that is chemistry, microbiology. But I really wanted to dig deeper into what's happening with the market, more about supply chain, which is also a big reason why I decided to study food science or to get into the food industry.
Well, if you're interested in food science and food technology overall, I think TUAS is quite the good address. But why exactly are you interested in food technology specifically and not in, law or politics and what so on? Why exactly this topic?
Yeah, I started actually my undergrad in food science, but then at that time I wasn't ready to know where our food came from. So I decided to switch to chemistry. I thought it's more broad, and I have always been interested in waste. I think waste has always been my passion. Actually, my friends told me that I'm like Forky of Toy Story. That is waste that runs to the trash bin. On my last year of undergrad, I took different classes that combined pharmacology more with the food, or the nutritional part that could, the phrase, food is medicine.
Kind of.
Well, there were all that semester, all the sentence that I was hearing was like, food is medicine, food is medicine. So I start researching more about the gap between the interaction food and drugs. And then I realized there's not a lot of data, how we can have a proper diet while we are taking a specific drug. And that led me to ask, okay, now about what interaction, food ingredients, and then, okay, this is within the dish, but what happens with the organic waste that is generated while you're cooking? How about interactions between these organic residues? So that's how I started working in a project that is called Turn Your Kitchen into a Biorefinery. It was a social project where we designed different workshops, how to teach people to cook simple and in a healthy way, but also how they could use the organic residues in benefit of their health. So there were simple things, for example, the mango peel, after a proper disinfection, you could frozen it or freeze it, and then you can apply it if you have a pimple, and it reduce the inflammation. So
that's actually a great idea. I've never thought about it.
Yeah, so there were simple things, or how to use the citrus peel and put it in your shoes, and then they will absorb the odor.
That's also a great idea. Maybe I have to write it down. But,
So I realized I really want to keep pursuing this. I graduated and I wanted to open a zero waste restaurant, but at that moment it's a good model, but for me, cutting the supply chain from restaurant to farm, it was I want to go further. I want to cover all the supply chain, from farm all the way to fork.
So basically, your ambitions are as big as they can get, but that's not a bad thing. No?
It's because I thought, okay, my restaurants can achieve a zero waste model, but what about other restaurants? How I can provide them the opportunity also to be zero waste. Maybe they don't have the equipment to make their own flour, or their own sauces, or different things. But if they can buy a product that has already come from a supply chain that is a zero waste chain, then they can also claim to be zero waste. So I think that was my inspiration of okay, let's keep moving forward, and also understanding which will be the best technology, to achieve circularity.
Is this still your goal, to do a restaurant with a zero waste supply chain? Is it still your dream to make a restaurant in the future with a zero waste supply chain?
I think in the long, in later stages of my life, I think a restaurant still is my dream. I love just having a place where people can go and have a good time. But I think now the idea has turned more into an online market to connect the food industry with upcycling companies. So the idea is how we can provide raw material to companies that are generate or creating new food ingredients, cosmetics, hydrogen, and other products from the food byproducts that are generated in the food industry. So I think right now, that would be my goal, to create this online market that could facilitate these companies getting the raw material.
This sounds like a very broad topic overall, but like I said, it's good to have ambitions. And now, if you look at your time in Trier or at your time in Germany, what can you learn here about food technology that, well, maybe you don't learn in the States, or, well, maybe some other input you get from here?
Yeah, sure. I think the part of marketing and supply chain is mainly what I have been learning here. And I think this has been helping a lot. Because I will be very honest, for me, marketing, it was only advertising. And now I know that that's not the case, so I think for me, it's as I am more in the food waste and loss business, let's say, that how we can sell this, because even the perspective, changing one word, understanding how to get to the consumers, understanding how to maintain a relationship, especially if one of my goals is to connect the food industry with upcycling companies that use, again, all these materials. So I think that has been very valuable for me. Also, one thing that I think that is really cool is that about the department is that they have several field trips to different companies, and I am very grateful also because all the students are always willing, to explain to me what is happening. But I think also seeing another environment, work environment, how the warehouse are set it, the recycling system here, I think is really good. I mean, I don't know overall, right? But at least I feel it works better to what I have seen before.
Well, I already had 2 guests on here from Bulgaria.
Okay.
And they were quite shocked about the way Germany recycles everything with free bags, sometimes even more. But yeah, I don't know what you as an expert say about it. Maybe it's good. I don't know. I don't know about alternatives, but yeah. Maybe it's a good way.
Yeah, no. I think there's so much to explore, related to waste management. To be honest, I think we're just understanding which work for people, what works for the industry. So yeah, I think for me, I value a lot this part of the program, that let me learn what I haven't learned, in the past semesters. Yes, I think that will be.
Is there anything that surprises you about Germany?
Surprise me. I think I will say 2 things. I was very surprised how welcomed I felt when I arrived here.
What did you expect?
Not because I was I think I wasn't expecting I didn't have high expectations, not because I wasn't expecting anything. Don't take me wrong. I really I don't want this to but I feel for me it was arriving to a new country, I don't know, the only people that I know are friends that are here, and suddenly I got here, and the people in the international department were very friendly. Also the people of my program, they are a small family, no, I feel and actually one friend he also shared that with me, he has been longer than I have been, and he's it's a small family, so I think it was not surprising, but for me it was a warm hug. I know that maybe now talking about overall no, well, that's the first thing. Sorry that I'm deviating.
Don't worry.
I think the second thing was more transportation. Because where I am from, we have public transportation, but there's a lot of room, and for me, coming here and having the facility, of going to brunch bike to visit my sister's boyfriend, using in just one way, and of course, I don't know, for me it was different, and as I mentioned, I think once again, I feel the people, but I think I don't want to not because I was expecting anything else, it's because like I was like surprised, like, you know, like, okay, I feel like so welcomed, you know, like in this place.
To be fair, I think quite some people think that Germans are kind of rude. But, well, as soon as they get here, they realize maybe it's a cliche. Maybe Germans are quite welcoming. So, yeah, I'm happy that a lot of people welcomed you in the right way.
Yeah.
And that it feels quite like a family. Is there something that surprises you, especially about Trier?
The Mosel.
The Mosel.
Yeah.
The Mosel. Oh, that's a great pronunciation. Well, we pronounce it as Mosel.
Mosel. Okay.
Stay with
Mosel.
your pronunciation. That sounds actually quite good.
Yes, I think, and the vineyards. Well, I think like the Mosel and the vineyards, like when you're on your way from Kunz all the way to Trier, it's just amazing. Like I didn't know the large production, you know, like I think it's white wine, like in this region specifically.
I think most of the time, I'm no expert on wine, but yeah, it's a very famous region overall for wine, but I don't know the specific type. So.
No, I think like all the vineyards, like for me, were like so nice.
But I think you also have vineyards in California, right?
Yeah, that's true. Nevertheless, I think the fact that they are on a hill, you know, like it's my first time that I see that kind, because I have seen like landscape with vineyards, but everything is like very plain. And here is like just
very
a hill
steep, yeah.
cover, like, and I got here in March, and it was like so beautiful to see, you know, how everything like start blooming. That's also like something that I enjoyed a lot. The Porta Nigra, for sure. Like you get there, and it's like, okay, I wasn't expecting you like to see. So I think like are the little surprises, you know, like historical, you know, like that is like, oh wow, I didn't know this, you know, like
Trier is one of the most historical city you can find, at least in Germany.
Yes.
Yeah, and the Porta Nigra is basically the heart of Trier. And it's also part of, I think, the UNESCO heritage.
I think so.
Yeah, it's a quite famous building, yeah. But Trier, people from Trier, they love to tell you that it's the oldest city in Germany, but you already know that. Yeah. And if you compare your learnings so far here in Trier to your learnings to California or even to Mexico, what's different?
Okay, so I mean, I think the educational system is very different. I did my undergrad in Mexico, and for us it was also a semester system. But we had midterms like every month, you know, like every 4 weeks you have like to deliver like either an update of the project or you present an exam. Then in the States it's a quarter system, so you have to do everything in 10 weeks. So I feel like for me it was like very intense, you know, because at least in the semester system I feel like you have time, you know, like to do more things. And I feel like in the quarter system also like you have to midterms, you have like to deliver things. And one thing that was very new for me, it was like getting to a system that you deliver everything until like the end, until like the semester ends. I think it was like, oh wow,
you have more time.
Like you have more time, but I think like you have to be more like like you have a lot of discipline, you know, like to have a lot of organization.
Well, I've heard of students that wait until the last week and then a lot of coffee and Red Bull for the night. I cannot recommend, but that's a different discussion. But yeah, I've heard of other people that it's a bit more stressy in the States, but you have more guidance, at least they told me so. So it must be quite difficult to adapt to a new system. How was it for you?
Yeah, it was new, as I mentioned, so it was like, okay, like we don't have midterms, we don't have finals until the end. Also, the classes are 1 hour and a half. And like I was used now to classes of 50 minutes, yeah.
Okay. So in California or in the States?
In California, like in Mexico, like you have sometimes classes like 1 hour and like a half, even like 3 hours, like with a break in between. It's not that it doesn't exist, like in the States, but I think in the master's program, at least I haven't, like it was just like 50 minutes and that's it, like also. One difference that I saw, and I mean, I'm not in undergrad, so I cannot confirm this, but like in my campus back in the US, you have your class and then you have like a discussion session. The discussion session is for you to practice what you have learned. It's more like practical, and it is given by graduate students. So like the student goes to the class with the professor, and then like they choose like, okay, I will go this hour, and we just like give them exercises, or we like explain again, like if they have questions of like a certain topic. And
I don't think we have exactly this, but that's actually an interesting idea. Maybe I would have liked it during my studies. But yeah, 90 minutes for a lecture is basically the standard in Germany, as far as I know. So I don't know anything else. I think 50 minutes or like 45 minutes, that's actually too short, I think. But well, it depends. So if you look back at your time in Trier so far, I think it's like roughly 3 months. What do you think? Which new horizons have opened up for you?
I think definitely I would like to keep learning German. I know that
that's a challenge.
I think it's a life goal for sure. But yeah, I think like I will also like to understand better, like as I mentioned, like the initiatives that you have like in the waste management like sector. And yeah, I think in overall also, this maybe more be like hobbies, but I would like to learn how to row properly, like do rowing, like that's also like a life.
I think then Trier is actually also a good place because we have a lot of people that love to row on the Mosel, but yeah.
Yeah, no. I think like the other day I was thinking like, okay, I have to come back, like maybe next year, like
you're
train and then...
You're always welcome in Trier. I don't know about the learning German part because, the language itself is quite challenging. But yeah, I wish you good luck with learning German, with learning how to row, with your studies in food technology overall. Also, good luck with the restaurant, maybe in some kind of future.
You will be a special guest then. Everyone will be a special guest.
Whew. It's going to be expensive, but yeah, I wish you good luck with everything. Thank you very much for coming, for telling us your experiences, for letting us being a part of it. And thanks to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Martin.
Danke fürs Zuhören. Danke fürs Zuschauen. Und wenn ihr Anmerkungen habt, wenn ihr Fragen habt, wenn ihr Feedback habt, lasst es uns gerne wissen in Kommentaren oder auf anderen Wegen. Und bis zum nächsten Mal bei New Horizons.